Good evening, everybody.
What's up?
We got to see. It's always a matter of checking the angle of the show. We already got some folks on the board.
Both shoes on or both shoes off, please.
AGH, EO. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm...
Whoa.
I don't know what that's all about.
What do you...
I'm Ken Marangolo. These ads, it's the lawnmower. Oh, I see. It's Manscaped. That's actually a pretty good ad for us to have on our show.
Yeah, man. We want to come in here being aerodynamic, you know? No reason to be... That's what's been making us
I need a lot of
Manscaped. We don't
Manscaped.
have one.
Apparently.
Oh,
Keegan tells me all the time.
Oh.
Rhett Donnelly, Big Pappy. Cheers.
We miss you, Rhett.
This is...
Get your house fixed.
Thank God it's Tuesday. The greatest night of the week. As I said before, I'm Ken Marangolo, joined by Tim Strachan.
It's great being back. I don't think I've done back-to-back weeks in a while.
Great.
This is a
Cheers to
huge
that.
milestone. But speaking of milestones, I'm going to take this opportunity real quick. Talk about a big event this past weekend. Our boy here, Kevin Rickett, got inducted into the Catholic University of America Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you.
Well deserved. It was a pretty awesome night.
Look, man.
I got to do the later part of the night. I didn't quite go to the ceremony, but I mean the ceremony was pretty damn cool. Tim Kirkjian, MC.
Yeah, man.
Cashman was a co-honoree.
I know. I listen. Every guy that
Was
is
Danny
worth
Tartable there?
Every guy worth their salt in this area understands how to rig an election in their early teenage years.
true.
And I'm just glad I was able to pull it off.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I
Congratulations,
appreciate it, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. And
Everyone on
making
the
it
board.
a little bit more fun than it had to be.
Do it with my
Thank
Diet
you.
Coke.
Why not?
There you go.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Right.
All right,
And
let's
he's
get
Kevin
that,
Rickett.
Let's get that terrible portion of the show over with. And I appreciate it, though. And that
Had to be
was a lot of
said.
fun. But what we need to do is get some business going here on with the Burgundy and Gold, fellas. That would be much to our liking.
So, tonight is mock draft night. It's once a year. Once a year, we do a mock draft ahead of all the Redskins picks. Football team, commanders, whatever you want to call them. And got the results right here. Going to tell you the future. And these guys have their own picks for the top 10. We'll decide who's left over at number 11 for our team to pick. I'm kind of excited. You know how I feel about mock draft. I know you've really come to love them over the last 4, 5, 6 years. Steve Schalp.
I've always liked them.
the
I
site.
always liked the first round. I came to enjoy the entirety of the draft, especially after you started wearing pants throughout the course of it, which really allowed me to enjoy day 2 and 3 more than
A lot of
previous.
people weren't happy about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's understood. The old camera angle. Trust me.
That's why you can't see
I'm
underneath
picking
this
up why
table
they
right now.
were mad. But no, man, I love it. I love what the NFL has done to it. How it's become a 3-day event over time. How excited we get. Thursday's always badass, but Friday we get after it. And you know damn well we're not missing Saturday. It's fun to start getting into this stuff right about now.
We ask that you kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free to do. You can click on the bell. It will give you a notification every time we go live with this show or anything else. You never know what might be putting up on the YouTube channel. And if, and only if, we do something tonight that you like, why don't you click on that little thumbs up guy. Thank you very much. They liked me asking for the like.
Look at that.
There you go. The system works. Appreciate you guys in advance. It all matters. And AGH, we can't go a week without. And we didn't go a week without, and we're not going to forget about it. We're just not going to lead off with it.
Scandalous.
Scandal, but it's the good kind of scandal because it puts us
That's called a teaser.
in the right direction. That's
Very well
right.
done,
That's right.
Ken.
There's more coming in this show. But
Secrets.
the purpose of tonight is to draft 10 players for each team that drafts ahead of Washington. And maybe we'll agree on some of these. Maybe we won't. If you have any rationale you want to share, feel free. The floor is ours. The people on the board can... we can't forget it. I'm sorry, AGH. We can't do it. We will go on to all the way 1 through 10. We'll get all the way to number 11. If people on the board want to ring in, please feel free. I'll definitely include you guys in this. Number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars, drafting number 1 again. I don't know many teams. I mean, their entire team is all first-round draft picks at this point in time. In fact, many number 1 overall draft picks. They should be relegated up to an elite league at this point in time. With
They're this generation's Cleveland Browns to our generation. The guys that the Bengals.
I mean,
was it the Browns?
sure,
No, the Bengals.
Bengals.
The Bengals seemed like they had the number 1 pick like every year or every other year.
Yeah, well, when you bring Urban Meyer into your fold, the cherry on top. I mean, when you make him the guy, like, we all knew it right here. We just call up First Amendment next time, Jack.
It just gets uglier.
Doug Peterson, though, that's a legit dude they got doing it down there. We'll see.
We will see. He got chased out of Philadelphia in a weird way. I don't understand.
That was very strange.
What exactly was going on there. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. They have the number 1 draft pick. I went chalk here, I think. Everyone's got this guy going there. But the thing about this guy that I always forget when I always forget about him, that I didn't even realize when I was watching him play for Michigan this past year is how tall he is. Aiden Hutchinson, 6'6.5", 6'6 plus. I didn't realize he was that tall.
6'7".
I mean, call him 6'7" because he's like 6'6" and 5/8 or whatever it is. I didn't realize he was that tall. I mean, I knew he was big, and I know he was powerful and dominant, but I had 6'7". That kind of obviously it's kind of hard to pass up on him. They just franchise tagged their left tackle. They signed Brandon Sheriff to a $50 million deal.
Fitty.
Yeah. You gotta, and Aiden Hutchinson kind of looks like a guy. Did anyone have anyone different than Aiden Hutchinson? Who would you have? Jacksonville Jaguars take?
So I said Evan O'Neal, tackle from Alabama. Here's why. I personally had just always said it, build from the inside out. Mm-hmm. I think they strongly consider Aiden Hutchinson here, but at the end of the day, you get somebody to help Trevor Lawrence. You build from that offensive line. Yes, they have that tackle back, but he can play a guard for a year. And then eventually take over that tackle spot. I just think I don't think Aiden Hutchinson really is. The hype isn't there for him. It doesn't seem so solidified as the number 1 picks in years past. I think they kind of switch it up and they go offensive line.
I went with Aiden Hutchinson once again. I mean, he's a super safe pick. That's why I just keep reading everywhere. The safest pick, the hardest worker, the guy that's going to be. He might not be a all-pro guy, but he can make a couple Pro Bowls. And, that's pretty good for Jacksonville right now. They can go safe. Once you get old grandpa cheek squeezers out of town, you gotta do something with that first pick that doesn't scream risk. And the safety of Aiden Hutchinson is what I went with.
He's a hell of a safety pick. That makes the Detroit Lions on the clock, drafting number 2. Detroit, another team that is traditionally drafting fairly high. They lost Stafford a year ago. Jared Goff coming back. Maybe they're in the market for a quarterback. Maybe they're in the market for, I don't know, just about anybody who can make their team better. There's a lot of options here. Would you like to go first? Who'd you take for Detroit?
Sure. I think I'm going to have a bit of a surprising choice here. But listen, man, Jared Goff is not the guy. He's not going to be around the year after. I'm going with the most talented quarterback in the draft for the Detroit Lions. They got to get that position fixed. And this guy's leadership off the field, I think he's someone that just really the team will rally around. Mm-hmm. With Dan Campbell's crazy ass up there, they're already rallying around him, and he's pretty tough. I think Malik Willis is the guy that he could go hip to hip with and move forward on. So I'm going to say that shockingly, and we know how teams panic at this time of year. Might not be the best quarterback draft class, but the market value is still there for some of these guys. And when you don't have one, it starts to get a little dicey.
If you don't have a quarterback and you're drafting number 2 overall, you got to at least think about it. T, did you have anyone?
I actually have no quarterbacks in my top 10. I went quarterback less.
Get that out of the way.
I don't think that this class has anybody that's worth, certainly not a number 2 pick. And so I just penciled in there Aiden Hutchinson. I went from him being a number 1 to a number 2. He's a local guy. They feel a need there. I think it's a good fit for the Detroit Lions.
That's been like back when Kayvon Thibodeau was projected as number 1 and it made Aiden number 2. I always thought that was cool. Go from Michigan to Detroit. I don't know how cool he's going to think that is, but
he doesn't have a whole lot of say in it.
Nope, he doesn't. He just all he has to do is cash those checks, and he'll be doing just fine. I went with who I think might be the best player in this draft. I think Ahmad Gardner, the corner out of Cincinnati, is amazing. They just drafted Jeff Okuda 2 years ago, so and he's good, but he's been hurt. I think he's ended the last 2 seasons on the IR. Got a little stat for you. The Lions gave up the 3rd best QBR in the league, so quarterbacks feasted on the secondary. Ahmad Gardner didn't give up more than 13 yards in a game at all. He gave up 0 touchdowns. So if Okuda's healthy and you can have Sauce and Okuda out there, you're looking pretty good, even if it's just Sauce.
Okuda sauce, baby.
Okuda Sauce. I think he might be the best player in this draft, but we'll see. That puts
he thinks he is. We all heard that this 2 days ago.
Yep.
I am the best player in this draft. That was his tweet.
I believe him.
He seems pretty confident about it.
Houston Texans on the clock. Now, a team in complete and total shambles. Now, we get a really good look in the top 3 picks of franchises that we probably should be happy we're not. Now, obviously, there's a reason why they're picking in the top 3, and there's a reason why a lot of these teams are picking ahead of us. But I just think it's instructive and therapeutic and a little cathartic as Washington fans, with all the crap we've had to go through, to look at these top 10 picks and these teams and be like, glad I'm not them. I'm definitely glad I'm not them. I'm super glad I'm not them. You know what I mean? Like it's fun to realize that we are not like the rock bottom of the rock bottom.
I wouldn't want to be any of these first 6,
No.
7,
How
8
about first 10? I mean, I'm looking down here.
Yeah.
AGH just said I mock ruined Malik's career. Very true, AGH. But also, the first 10 guys selected by all 3 of us
maybe
are
Seattle.
getting their careers mock ruined.
Maybe Seattle's the only
Maybe.
franchise
Maybe.
that'll be considered better than what we are.
Depending on what their quarterback scenario
Maybe,
is.
yeah, that's maybe.
Because they were their only chance
In
to
recent
win last
history,
year
they've
was
been
Russ.
way better than
But their only chance to win last year was with Russ.
Right.
Now they're without Russ.
Texans got zorned. Texans fans just got zorned because they had no plan. They got rid of their coach. They couldn't find anybody who wanted the job. They went inside the building. They quickly asked Levy Smith, "Can you put a tie on and interview for the job?" That's like we did with Jim Zorn. I mean, he's a great coach, but he is not. He wasn't the guy they went into the process being like, I hope Levy Smith will be our coach next year.
He's got a great beard, though.
He does have a
He's
great
got a
beard.
great beard
He's
going.
a good coach. Players look up to him. Players like him. He's not.
He's just his record's horrendous.
He won't be the problem. He's had a very
as a head coach.
very tough time.
It's horrendous.
In the win-loss
I don't know.
column.
I understand how these guys with horrendous records keep getting jobs, but no, it's not really a knock on Lovey.
No, the Houston Texans are just
he's lovable.
backwards.
He's just got a terrible.
They made
record.
bad trade after bad trade, just chasing talent out of town and wasting picks. I have friends working. As you guys know, I work with a lot of folks in Houston, and they are as miserable as I feel like we are, and they get clowned on by the Dallas people down in Texas who are just so thankful that there's just enough distance enough that they didn't get raised. A Houston Texans fan. So they need talent. I think I got the second. Well, I think I got the best offensive lineman going here. My personal, humble, meaningless 1.5 cent opinion. I got Ike Ikwon will go into the Texans, the NC State offensive tackle. I think he is special, and that's what Houston needs. I think. Who do you have him taking?
Well, I wrote down Houston's a mess. You covered that. So I went with the guy who I think has the biggest upside, the most talent, the best, maybe not best player available, best talent available, Trayvon Walker, the DN, the guy that's rising up his status is just escalating as the minutes go by. 6'5", 272-pounder from Georgia. He's got a huge ceiling, and you know what? They got so many holes. I just went with the most talented guy I thought right there.
He's jumping up the board.
Yeah.
It certainly could help them.
Their holes, certainly I don't think their biggest holes are on the line. So I went Trayvon Walker as well. I just think it's
what? I have to
place of edge.
re-examine that. I gotta look into him more because so basically we're probably saying he's getting drafted ahead of Thibodeau at this point in time.
I mean, it seems like his ceiling is higher. Thibodeau's raw, but he's 6'5", 250. They think they can put some more weight on him. I know that's been talked about, but you don't have to put any more weight on Trayvon. And his numbers he's testing through the roof. I mean, they said his cone drill was jaw dropping just watching it. So that's the type of cat that you're gonna have to keep an eye on, and maybe not ready to go right away and dominate, but a guy that in the next year to two, when he learns the NFL techniques, could be a horse.
And then it'll just suck for him because he'll be trapped in Houston for
Well, we're mock killing everyone right now.
We're mock ruining careers. Number 4, New York Jets. 2 picks for the Jets in the top 10. Number 4 and number 10. So I think they need a wide receiver really bad, but I also think they can get one at number 10. So that's a little bit of a teaser. I want Evan Neal. I want Icky and Evan back to back here. I know that the Jets could use an offensive lineman. They do have some talent on the line at this point, but they did just bet on Zach Wilson. I think Elijah Moore is a great wide receiver, and Corey Davis is pretty good, but Evan Neal's awesome. And Evan Neal you should be able to count on him for 5+ years.
So
6'7",
who do you have him
337. Evan Neal.
Okay.
The Jets. What about you?
He's a masher. He's a monster, man. I love him. I got Kayvon Thibodeau here going to the Jets. The Jets got to go offense and defense in the first 10 picks. I got him jumping up and taking this guy. I mean, Robert Saleh is the new head coach. You know, and we know that he loves his defensive edge pressure. I think that's the best guy off the edge available. Kayvon Thibodeau is my call.
I'm going Thibodeau as well because I just think he's too shiny of a keys for Robert Saleh to let go from there. He didn't think originally he was going to be there, and because he had the defense with Nick Bosa and San Francisco, he's going to want to try to replicate that. And Thibodeau's the next best guy that's there now that Walker's gone. So I think that's where they go. Plus, they went Zach Wilson last year. I think defense is going to be a huge focus for them. Maybe in their second
they
pick
have
of the
talent
top
on
10
defense,
as well.
though. They do have talent on defense. They've drafted high and they've picked up defensive players. I'm basing my 2 Jets picks in this on them realizing that they've got to knock the pants off some fans. They've got to wow some people.
But they always disappoint their fans. That's the best part about it.
They've been pulling their fans' pants down aggressively for the last couple decades. Yes, but like rudely. I think not the kind that you like.
You get Zach Wilson going.
Sorry.
I think I got them going offense twice in the top 10, which I could be proven dead wrong on. Staying in New York.
D twice.
Staying in New York, the New York Giants. I'll let someone else go first. Kevin, who do you have the New York Giants taking at number 5 overall?
And I hate that they're going to do it because he's who I think the best. He's who I would want, my personal opinion, at offensive tackle. Evan Neal. Monster, masher, NFC East throwback. This guy's he started 3 years and has all the awards you could possibly get in the SEC. You don't think he's battle tested and ready? Yeah. Love him. Hate that they're going to get him there. Hope they don't. Evan Neal.
So actually, because I have Evan Neal going first, Jacksonville, I have Icky Okongwu going here.
Okay.
Just 1 sack and 621 pass block snaps last season. He can take over for Matt Gano right now. He'd be a good bookend for Andrew Thomas. I just think he's the best fit for him there.
Well, we all agree then that the Giants at number 5 overall are dipping into this offensive line heavy draft class. I got him taking Charles Cross, the Mississippi State offensive tackle, and only because Icky and Evan Neal are already off the board. So I have the Texans igniting a run on the offensive lineman because I have it going Icky, Evan, Charles in a row, with the Giants realizing both the Giants and Jets picked twice in the top 10. So I think if especially if once the Jets take Evan Neal, they feel like they got to take Charles Cross, knowing that in 2 picks they're going to have they're going to be able to get creative, and I think that they will. But we all have the Giants taking an offensive lineman. None of us are happy about it because that's what they need. But at number 6, I think it gets a little fun here. I don't know why we don't have the same negative thoughts about Carolina. I think we always kind of beat them up, and they're kind of like everyone's kid brother, even though they've done way better than us. They've been to a Super Bowl, for God's sakes. But new coaching staff, I don't know. They have a slasher running back. They have a couple pieces at wide receiver, but they don't have a quarterback.
They do.
I'm sending Kenny Pickett down to Carolina. Now, Rule Love.
I think he's the best in the draft class. I think he's going to have the best career of this draft class. I really do. But I think at the end of the day, they stick with Sam Darnold. I don't think that there's anybody in this draft that Matt Rule's ready to hang his career on.
He loved Kenny Pickett before.
I just don't think he does. And I think you're going to give Sam Darnold another chance. Their biggest need right now is on the line. And this is where I send Charles Cross.
Who'd you give?
It is true, though. Pickett was ready to sign, sealed, and deliver to go to Temple.
Rule has a history with Pickett.
And Pickett backed out on him last second and headed to Pitt. Left him standing at the altar. So
this time he gets no say in it.
And this time, I think Rule's going to force it. Look, Matt Rule's career is hanging in the balance. He just had to hire some fancy offensive coordinator with the promise that this was going to be the big turnaround. We know this in our area. Once you start making promises and giving guys slots and telling guys, yeah, you can hang on there. We have to hire a new guy to call plays. Once those concessions start to be made, it's the beginning of the end. No one ever survives that in the long term. It usually happens quickly. Kenny Pickett, from what I understand, is the most ready guy that's ready to play now. And Matt Rule's career needs to be taken care of right now. And I don't think you can go into the season to look season ticket holders in the face and be like, Sam Darnold is the guy. So I think that little bit of promise.
I like
and
Sam
Kenny
Darnold.
Pickett being ready to rock and roll, apparently more so than anyone else in this draft, says Kenny Pickett.
T, you kind of depressed Rhett.
I like Darnold
remotely.
I'm not really that down on him.
Rhett says they stick with Sam
I
Darnold.
think he's not very good. But
I don't think he's great.
Is bringing him down. You just brought him down.
I'm sorry,
Robert
Rhett.
Cohen, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Cheers. Nonstop. Well, let's take a quick timeout. We're halfway through the first round, and one of our great friends of the show and someone who we've had a chance to meet in person, who hails from the United Kingdom, none other than AGH. He's dominant on our board, and he is. Red is asking you politely to stop with Sam Darnold love. Very politely. If he was in the basement, he would do it a little bit more forcefully. He might worm across
Sam
the floor.
Darnold do to you, Rhett.
But AGH,
Sam Darnold is butt cheeks.
congratulations.
He probably did a lot to Rhett on a bet.
We
I'm
are
sure he
this
did.
far
That's
away
fair.
from a United States-Wales World Cup matchup, potentially. The draw came this week. I know you guys were watching every second. I was.
Every second.
The United States drew England, Iran, and the fourth team we're going to play is going to be either Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine. They're going to play each other in
Holy
the playoff.
shit.
So Scotland plays Ukraine. The winner of Scotland-Ukraine plays Wales. The winner of that game gets into the draw in our group. So it's very possible that Wales has a super strong squad.
Ukraine's actually
I
participating.
know, man.
Yeah.
That's why I said holy shit.
That game has been postponed indefinitely. Ukraine's got a very good team. If they play the game, they will wax Scotland, and then it'll be between Wales and Ukraine in a probably a very competitive, fun game to watch. The World Cup qualifier playoffs, when a spot in the World Cup is on the line, there's 2 or 3 of those games every 4 years. And as far as sporting spectacles, they bring all of it. It's super fun. It's always a weird match of teams you'll never ever see play each other otherwise, because they're deliberately coming from various parts of the world to fight for one spot left in the World Cup. So Wales is going to play in June against the winner of Scotland and Ukraine. Congratulations, AGH. I will be rooting for you in that game, but I won't be rooting for you after that game, and I think you understand why. All right, so Kenny, we all agree Kenny Pickett's going to Carolina? No, we don't. We don't all agree. We don't all agree.
Quarterback less top 10.
But that's okay. The Giants are now on the clock at number 7, having just picked an offensive lineman, which we all very much agree on. Just because you guys already have him off the board, I gave the Giants Kayvon Thibodeau, and it makes me really upset because they just drafted 2 players who should start for them on the line of scrimmage in the next year, and that makes me not happy because that should make the Giants better.
T-Bird, who do you got at 7?
I got J.J. Dose. Jermaine Johnson, second edge from Florida State.
Okay.
Because they went with a tackle on the earlier pick, they can now put somebody on the edge rush. Coming off an impressive season, I think he's the guy that they're going to go with there.
All right. So second time in a row for the Giants, we agree on essentially the position. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I had a tackle going to the Giants earlier like T did, just a different guy, and now I have Jermaine Johnson going to the Giants again, man, the defensive end. This is a guy who's shooting up the ranks again. He's been skyrocketing. 6'5", 254 pound, another guy with the frame to add plenty of pounds, plenty of strength, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Dude's a stud, man. Hate that he's going to go there possibly, but that's the guy I would jump up and grab if you needed some edge, pressure, some rush from the Giants defense.
So that's 2 guys, Jermaine Johnson and Trayvon Walker, that I don't have in my top 10, that I fully, readily admit are top 10 talent. And I will have to rethink this because Trayvon Walker, I've been talking myself out of him for the last few days and into Thibodeau, and I don't know why, because I think he's gonna fall. I do agree with that. All right, so another organization who has a great owner. We should say that Arthur Blank is a great owner. If you're a fan, you should at least like Arthur Blank. I don't know if he's a great owner or not, but he is an absolute stud when it comes to not being an asshole. I think that's the word, anyways. They sell hot dogs for like $1 at games. I mean, they get it, Kevin. They got your number. I mean, if you go to an Atlanta Falcons game, you're gonna be eating hot dogs for like $1.
My hot dog number?
Yeah, your hot dog number.
Well,
Are you a hot dog guy?
I am.
I love hot dogs too.
Yeah.
Bunless. I heard.
No, I'm full bun.
No, him.
Oh,
Bunless or buns, either way.
all right.
I prefer the bun. I
You
like
go-
my buns
you go
toasted.
both.
I like toasted buns.
I like them soft.
I know you do. Atlanta Falcons have needs. They have a lot of
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah, they
so
do.
they just shipped out Matt Ryan for something, and they're going to foot a crazy ass bill for it.
1/3 round pick.
1/3 round pick, and they're writing a huge check. At quarterback for Atlanta this year, anybody?
Marcus Mariota.
Your boy.
There you go, my boy Marcus Mariota.
Good luck with that one.
I don't know if he's necessarily the answer, capital T, capital
Stopgap.
A. I don't think he is.
He's the stopgap.
They're not paying a ton of money. It really
He's
opens
about
up
to
the
get
pick.
killed.
But they have other needs as well. One of their best wide receivers has been sidelined for a gambling injury.
Calvin Ridley ain't coming back.
Is that true? You think so?
That backdoor cover nearly broke his soul. And you know what? That's the worst beat you can get.
He's hoping they reinstate him sometime this season. You think that's a
He has
dream?
been suspended for the season.
Well, but they're appealing it. He's going to appeal. He's got an appeal.
Okay.
Come on.
Good luck out there, Calvin.
So they
I'm
got
pulling for you.
they
I got $50 says that you're back next year.
Anyone want to pick for Atlanta first? Kevin, go ahead.
I will, because speaking of poor Calvin, and I hope that gets rectified, this Falcons receiver room looks like, honestly, the JV at some local
It
high
is bad.
school. It is brutal. It's terrible. Drake London, 6'4", 220-pound guy from wide receiver from USC. That's a big dude to have for a young quarterback eventually, meaning next year. Not so much Marcus Mariota this year, but a guy that Marcus Mariota can rely on with that. You throw the ball up or near him, he gets it. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to have, especially in an offense that's going to depend on him to make plays in third down. As a rookie, dude played a little hoop at USC, man, was the AAU star, was going to be a Division I scholarship guy. So you know he can go up and get it, and he can box out, and he can get up there when it's the 50-50 balls.
He's good.
But he's a stud, man, and he's got big, strong hands, and Atlanta needs a guy like that.
T?
So actually, we're wide receiver as well, but I want Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from
Ooh.
Ohio State.
Our first agreement of the night. And our second time, we all got the position the same. I went wide receiver, and I went Garrett. Why do you want Garrett?
I think he's a field stretcher. He's a 4.3, 840 guy. 113 catches, 18 touchdowns, 2 years for Ohio State. I think he's the best guy to come in and be your starting caliber guy right off the bat, because that's what they need. They need a guy. They have no starting
sure
caliber
do.
wide receivers in there.
I think wide receiver is an absolute need for them. It's a perfect, and if they don't go Garrett Wilson, they could still win a couple of different ways. I don't know how high Jameson Williams is ultimately going to go, but he's a guy who could, on that turf, could do some amazing things. I know Marcus Mariota can throw it deep. He has done that throughout his career. I don't know if that's what he's been doing a lot of.
And a quarterback like Mariota who can, and I know he's not the threat on the ground that he once was, but he needs a guy that can take the top off and open up the underneath a little bit so he can make some plays when things break down. Because let's be honest, there's going to be things breaking down a whole hell of a lot in Atlanta.
And he needs everything. You guys went speed. I have no problem with that. I went size. They need both. So receiver is certainly us agreeing on that. It makes sense.
Seattle Seahawks at number 9 made a huge move. Russell Wilson out after 100 years playing quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Does that make them quarterback hungry in the top 10 of a draft that's not quarterback heavy?
I think it kind of has to. You want to put all your eggs in that basket. Now, I don't know if you can make that pick right now based on the idea that who the hell's left, that you know you want the value. But bro, man, you got two studs. You got DK Metcalf out there and Tyler Lockett. These are guys that have been playing at such a high level with Russ. You can't just hand him Drew Lock and be like, good luck, but I don't know where the guy comes from. I don't have him going. I'll go up and say I got Icky because I haven't had him going yet, and obviously
that's
the guy's
right.
a stud. So I got Icky.
That would be
going
a
to
huge
Seattle,
get for them.
And if he's still around there, if this is how it unfolded, I think they pounce on a guy like that to help them for the next
Second coming of Russell Okung.
There you go.
For them. I mean, he worked out great for them. And who was Walter? Not Walter Johnson. I want to say Walter Johnson. Was it Walter Johnson? Walter. They had Walter Jones.
No, Walter Jones. Yes,
Walter Jones.
Walter
they had
Johnson's
two.
a different cat.
That's a baseball player.
They had two excellent left tackles over the last.
Walter Johnson
15
owned
years.
property like a mile.
Yes, yes. I'm guessing there's more than one Walter Johnson, but that is the Walter Johnson.
Well,
Walter Jones and Russell Okung, great. Who'd you have Seattle taking?
So because I am a quarterback less, top 10, and this is where I think
you are a
this
quarterback
this one's going to raise eyebrows. I already had Icky going, and I think that Seattle, yes, they have those weapons. Drew Lock is at least a veteran, and again, this draft class does not have a surefire guy. So I think they roll their dice with Drew Lock, buy themselves another year for that quarterback sweepstakes that may or may not be coming next year. Mm-hmm. And they go Trevor Planning, offensive tackle from Northern Iowa, and he's the best tackle that's on the board.
Sure.
It's going to be that's a stretch.
So you guys are both going.
But I think it's the biggest of need for them.
Sure.
And
both going tackle.
I mean, this guy's been really popping eyes with the way he is, how big he is. He's an aggressive player. I just think his stock has really risen in the postseason here, getting on our way to the draft, and I think that this is where they're going to go. So
I call them quarterback hungry. I do not think they're going to let Drew Lock go too long. I got Kenny Pickett off the board already, number 6. So I'm giving him Malik Willis. I know Malik Willis is going to be that guy who has to go somewhere where he fits, and it's going to be weird because top quarterbacks end up going to teams that need quarterbacks, not necessarily because they don't get the benefit of being the fit. But the thing I like about the Seattle offense is it's always been a run-heavy offense. Now, they'd be better off with the 2 tackles you guys just gave them, obviously. But Chris Carson is a very good running back. They always seem to have 1 or 2 guys on any given week running the ball. Russell Wilson depended on that running game. Malik Willis has a howitzer for an arm, and Tyler Lockett can get downfield. I know Russell Wilson had a lot to do with it, but Seattle's deep ball offense has always been a big part of their offense. They get guys who get behind the defense, and Russell Wilson always seemed to find them, and he did it by extending plays with his legs, getting outside, and heaving it downfield. To me, that seems like something Malik Willis is going to be able to do in the NFL. Maybe it's going to be something he's going to have to do in the NFL. And with DK and Lockett, I love the idea of him hoisting the ball in the air.
I just want to say this. I do believe that the Seattle Seahawks have 2 picks in the 40s. I think with one of those picks in the second round, if a guy like Matt Corral is still left, that's the obvious call for them. Mm-hmm. Pete Keller said multiple times he wants a point guard, a quarterback, he wants an athlete, and he wants a guy with an arm. Well, Matt Corral is all 3 of those. And, guys, we all have a mutual friend, our man Johnny Dessler, who owns a bar down at Ole Miss. Matt Corral got his flight redirected this past week. So a friend of ours made another phone call to another friend of ours. And next thing you know, old Matt Corral is at the Bethesda Crab House, sitting there with Mike Armstrong, Christine, and the whole crew. And my cousin wants to attest to the universe. There is not a nicer younger man than Matt Corral, who got off a flight.
I heard that story. That's awesome.
Taken to the local crab house. By the way, it's the best crab house
Stayed
in the state.
at the Congressional Country Club.
Yep. Stayed at
nice
Congo.
little sweet condo in there.
This dude, they said, was absolutely awesome. They were like the most generous, unbelievably nice
I love the fact that it was Dessler who hooked up.
Was he trying to get to Florida and couldn't get there?
Johnny Dessler, for those that you don't know.
Florida.
For those that you don't know, Johnny Dessler, legend football player, boys club through St. John's, high school football player here, went down to
Starting
Ole Miss.
corner at Ole Miss. Yeah,
He's the owner of the library.
The library.
in down there in
Maybe
in
the
Ole
best
Miss
bar
and,
in the SEC conference.
Yes, I would.
It's
I
got
would
about
put it
10
up there for
rooms. It's
sure.
the size of a city block, and you can't get in there. And it's the hottest ticket in town. If
This
you
is
ever
Matt-
go on an
this is
SEC
who
tour,
Matt
you
Corral-
must stop at the library.
This is who Matt Corral calls and says, "My flight got delayed. You help me out."
That's who I call my flight gets delayed. Johnny D. What you got for me, baby?
You got to have that number in your
Where
phone.
am I going? Okay. Oh, that's great, man. But you know what? I love hearing stories like that about guys like that. He didn't have to be a cool dude.
Yeah.
Good for him.
All right, so Malik Willis off the board in the so you're the only one that doesn't have any quarterbacks. You and I both have Malik Willis gone. We both have Kenny Pickett gone,
Yep.
I believe.
Yes, we do.
The Jets are drafting at number 10. Now we're about to be on the clock after the Jets. So the Jets have already taken. Well, of course, I had them taken. We all had the Jets taking offensive lineman. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
No, we had
Neil, Kayvon, and Kayvon. Ken, you had the Jets taking
Evan Neal.
Evan
Okay.
Neal.
Okay.
T and I both went edge with Kayvon.
All right, and I already said I was taking offense twice. T said he was taking defense twice. So who was the defender you took at number 10 for the Jets?
Simply the best player available now, Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
Man, if he falls to number 10, I will.
They got him going 10th all
Look,
over
they
the
like
place.
they like their duo and Bryce Hall and Brandon Eccles, but I just think he's too good to not take him if he falls down there. And again, I took no quarterbacks, and I put planning up there in the top 10, which nobody I think has, but I think that's their biggest need. It left him there.
Okay. Kevin, who do you got at number 10 for the Jets?
Well, I had the Jets going with Kayvon earlier, and I said they were going to work on both sides of the ball. And Garrett Wilson's 4.38 40 time is sitting right there. And, Zach Wilson could certainly use all that uncovering this. So I got Garrett going right then and there.
All right. Well, I have a wide receiver going the Jets there, too. I still have Drake London available, so I gave him Drake London. I think we both have Garrett Wilson and Drake London gone, wide receivers. We all have Evan Neal, Icky, Ahmad Gardner. You don't have Ahmad Gardner gone yet.
I do not have Sauce off the board yet, guys.
T, do you have Aiden gone yet?
Hutchinson, yes.
You
He
gave
went to
okay. So
Detroit.
we all have Aiden gone. We all have Icky gone. We all have Evan Neal gone. We all have Kayvon gone. I think we all have Garrett Wilson gone.
Yep.
And now, did you give
That's
anyone
crazy.
Drake London? T.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So, without further ado, Washington Commanders. Now the cameras in our war room. Our team needs are plastered everywhere. I think we have multiple team needs. I think we've agreed on this.
I think that can be agreed upon. I think we can all agree upon
We
this.
have multiple team
There's
needs.
one thing that all of us can freaking agree upon.
We are not one player away from jack shit.
There's so much more. Oh, so many needs. Off the field.
Lots of needs. Nothing but needs.
We are needy. Please call.
But there are some awesome players available at number 11, and this, no matter which one of these 10 you like, there's at least 2 or 3 amazing players that you could run to the podium. And I have one that none of us have said so far. So I didn't pick somebody that you guys had already given to somebody else. Do you guys want to all say the name at the same time? Because I want to know if we all pick the same person. All right, so I'm going to count to 3 and just say who you picked for the Washington Commanders. 1, 2, 3. Kyle Hamilton. Yes, that's awesome. All right, we did not plan this.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't
No,
talk
we
at
did it
all
on our
today.
own.
Kyle Hamilton sitting there,
Wow.
the safety from Notre Dame, who is in many cases listed as the number 1 prospect, regardless of position in this draft. But because the NFL is so scheme specific and dependent on elite talent at the exact position that you need at that exact moment, there's a chance he falls to us at number 11 because someone might need one of these other guys more.
Yeah, all the comparisons of safeties to Sean Taylor over the years, it doesn't work. There's one Sean Taylor. This guy's level of upside, I think, is the one that can be compared. Not their games. I think his eyes, his love of the sport, and his speed allow him to play in the back end. He's tough as shit, man. He can play right there at the line of scrimmage, no problem. And he's had no problem at the college level defending tight ends and slots on occasion. Those slots are going to be a little more difficult for him at this next level.
Sure.
And so will the tight ends, but I think he can handle that tight end scenario. He can play at the line of scrimmage. He's got the eyes and the football know-how, and he is physically put together. He's a lot of people's favorite athlete in this draft.
Yes, he is.
If we're capable of getting a guy like that, I think we should be thrilled.
Absolutely. No, and I think in reality, it's going to probably be a wide receiver. I think we're taking a wide receiver. If we pick at this spot, I think we are taking a wide receiver. But
well, if the wide receivers left, who would you take?
I saw that he probably Drake London on my
of the one
on my board.
Yep.
But
He'd be
I think
awesome.
he's too damn good. Again, he's too damn good to fall that far. I think he's going to fall that far because his 40 time was a little bit disappointing.
Which I have no.
Which I think does scare the ones who are up in the 1, 2, 3.
I love it. It's perfect for us because game speed is where it's at.
And every year a guy falls because of some sort of metric or something like that.
And a lot of times, somehow that's happened.
Yep.
That has helped us out. Now, Jonathan Allen sliding was much more helpful than Darius Geis, but that's neither here nor there. But to be fair, I don't want a receiver there because I don't see someone at that spot that I think is worth the value.
Me neither.
But whatever.
Well, I kind of think Drake London would be
maybe
to Terry because he's
Drake London's a great player.
He's the big guy, the big target you can kind of get on a third down play that can play underneath and go get a ball.
But you took Kyle Hamilton in this situation.
I took Kyle.
I'm taking Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley before I take a receiver. That's who I have left.
Stingley's my only other guy that I slotted in.
And right now, if we got one of those three guys at 11, I'd be thrilled. I love Stingley. I love that he's competed against Jamar Chase and Torres Marshall and Justin Jefferson and has dominated. I love the fact that that Sauce has never had a freaking touchdown in his college career.
Dude, is it weird that Stingley's
nuts.
I mean, I know mock drafts don't mean shit, but like he is getting dropped.
He's played 10 games in 2 years. His 2 year ago tape didn't look great, apparently, from what I understand, and whatever. Shit, that guy's a stud.
He'd be my team for sure.
He's a stud. If we got one of those three guys, I'd be thrilled. Thrilled.
I know, first of all, manner of speaking, the A team, all y'all, welcome to Tuesday. I know Rhett has been someone who's been not exactly thrilled about the idea of continuing to go defense in the first round, which is out there. That's a sentiment that's out there. I totally get it. And manner of speaking, Nakobe Dean, he's on my list. I do understand that if Kyle Hamilton and Nakobe Dean are there, I'm racing with Kyle Hamilton's name written on the card. I think Nakobe Dean's going to be a really, really good player in the NFL, and I don't have any problem taking him in the first round at all. He, to me, is a guy that if we are able to trade back and pick up more picks and another first rounder next year, those kinds of things, and all of a sudden Nakobe Dean's sitting there in the middle to late first round, he fits a need as well. I think he's an excellent player, and he also fits a need. But Kyle Hamilton, and this is even after you signed Bobby McCain. I mean, we gave him money. We asked him to be here. We need Bobby McCain.
There's a role for
still.
him. There's a place for him. 70% of the snaps.
If you go Hamilton and Cam Curl in the back, you're doing pretty damn good.
Our versatility defensively should not let anyone worry about one spot. I'm sorry. I hate to say positionless, but there's certain downs that's what the hell we are. That's what the NFL is. So let's stop worrying about like what's penciled in with the two deep looks like.
Right.
Bobby McCain can play some corner. Bobby McCain can play some nickel. Bobby McCain can do a little bit of everything.
Buffalo nickel even.
Maybe. And you know what? So this guy can play whatever the hell we want him to play.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't play him at linebacker as a rookie. There's no reason for it. But I know that people are thinking, can we play him at linebacker? He's 6'4", 220. Probably. Now, he needs to get a little bigger, I think, but he will. He's a young buck, man, and when he gets that NFL body, he'll be just fine.
And I love the trendy thing lately has been finding linebackers in college that fit that you can slide to safety or slide to dime linebacker or that Buffalo nickel. I love the idea of drafting a safety that you think is physical enough to be an awesome safety, but that you could walk up and play at the linebacker spot, because that to me, like that's the real elite guy on the field. A 6'4", 220 safety who's a great safety.
The length and speed of him.
Yeah.
The coverage ability. The amount of square inches he can cover out there is nuts.
And if you want to walk him up, fine, because he's 6'4", 220. You know?
That wingspan, the whole nine. And we got some other length. You know, Montez and Chase aren't exactly unlengthy out there at 6'6".
That's right.
With their wingspan. So, hey, we didn't all plan on this. We weren't like, hey, let's figure out a way to get to Kyle Hamilton. I think everyone that we just went over in that top 10 is a legit top 10 candidate, as is Kyle Hamilton. So, hey, he could go second to Detroit. We could all be screwed. Who knows? Who cares? But I do care, obviously. But I just want to somehow figure out a way to get our guy. I wouldn't mind getting that third round pick, that'd be our best. We all talked about it. You always need a partner. It's easy to say, let's trade back. Everyone wants to say that. It's not that simple. You need someone that wants to dance. So
there you have it. We got agreement at number 11, which was completely unplanned.
that's very weird.
I'm very excited about that because that doesn't always happen. We got there different ways by picking a blind 10 man draft, and on top of that, I also think kudos to all of us for 3 times we won same position for the same team. I think, roughly speaking. Anyways, I don't know. I think that. There's some awesome pools coming out. I hope everyone has friends who run draft pools, filling out, getting the picks right. I think that's my number one favorite pool of the year. I more so even than the NCAA bracket. If you get the points right for the top 2 rounds in this draft pool that I do, it is cash money.
But when someone starts trading, that's when it gets hairy.
That's true. But you can still get the right player in the slot. So the pools that I do, you put the player in, so someone could trade for it, but you could still get the player right. So one thing that we kind of touch on a weekly basis that you just kind of mentioned was the possibility of trading back. The cool thing about going through this exercise is that at number 10, not only is Kyle Hamilton on the board. Not only are a couple, depending on which one of us you're talking to, a couple of wide receivers on the board who are worth jumping up and trying to grab. You might still have an offensive lineman available, depending on again which one of our things you like, and you might have you have 2 quarterbacks available, at number 11. So the ability to trade back from our spot at number 11 this year, we've touched on it. This is the most realistic opportunity we've had to trade back in the first round in many, many, many years because we've been drafting at 15, 16, 17, 18, right in the middle. All the quarterbacks people want are gone. All the top offensive linemen that people want are gone. All the edge rushers that people want are gone. And everyone's just going to let someone fall to them, another corner, another running back, or another whatever.
Well, I do think there's some safeties, cornerbacks, and some wide receivers that some people might want to move up to get at that spot.
If we could recoup that third, I'd be thrilled. I just want another pick in the top 3 rounds. Not in the 4th or 5th, in the top 3. That third round, we've had so much success in the third round, man. And I'm just saying the Garrett Wilson comp to Terry McLaurin. Let's just keep Terry McLaurin. And also, I don't. Let me ask you guys, the board and the both of you. We just keep reading day in, day out how Rivera is smitten with Olave, and Rivera is running across the field at the Senior Bowl to say goodbye to Olave, and he's just fawning all over this guy. I don't want this dude.
I don't either, but are you? My concern
why don't
is
you?
That it's about Terry McLaurin.
I'm not down on him, but why would you be down on him?
He's not, because I think he's a one-trick pony. He's just a speed guy, and at 11, I want a Garrett Wilson.
He had some pretty special catches.
Yeah, he goes up and gets the ball in traffic. That's a great thing to have. They're worried about his first and second level route running, and he's raw, and this, that, and the other, and his speed is unreal. 4.38, whatever it is. Fast enough. Him and Garrett Wilson. I just like Garrett Wilson's ability to run with the ball after catching. What a study is in the open field. I just would think, if that guy went before us or that guy was still available and we grabbed Olave, that would be the wrong guy.
My concern, close?
Maybe I don't know anything.
I wouldn't mind it.
How close are Terry McLaurin and Chris Olave? Because the
boys.
word on the street is they're boys.
They're boys.
And whenever I see a coach now,
I don't know what that means. If they're best friends, I think they play at the same place. They probably train together and they respect each other.
There's another Ohio State wide receiver on the roster already as well, correct? 2?
Just Terry and who else?
Curtis?
Oh, that's right.
I'm just saying.
Sims.
So
Samuels.
There's a part of me that's somewhat disillusioned when I see head coaches doing certainly. Now I think I consider Ron Rivera above all of that, but head coaches in every sport at some point are going to kowtow somewhat to a player, not just one of the best players on the team. Of course you kowtow to Terry McLaurin in every way you can, but if you're also trying to make him happy so that he signs an extension here and stays, you could do a lot worse than bringing in a guy that he might be telling the coaching staff, "Hey, get this guy." Now, I don't know if that's what he's saying, but we also have Curtis
if you're
Samuel.
saying about Garrett Wilson, I'm fine with that. Go get that guy.
If you were going to recreate the Ohio State wide receiving core here in town, that when I saw him chasing down Olave, that was the first thought that came to my mind, and I'm like, okay, all right.
I mean, do they even call Dwayne locally in off-season
Dwayne
workouts?
Haskins? Hey, what do you think about Chris Olave?
Guys, you're not allowed to call him. No off-season workouts at Bullis. Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Did Cam Sims transfer from Ohio State to Alabama? No, he didn't. All right.
I thought that's what when you asked that question.
I was thinking, I was like,
no, he set it up for like a trick
I
question.
can't believe you and I didn't get that.
But no, because
That's
he didn't
funny.
play last year. But it's weird because I don't think Ohio State's known as a wide receiver factory, but they do put out good
But
players.
Haskins had 3,000
they've had a
guys,
bunch.
I know.
for shit's sake.
They've had
I
a
know.
bunch here lately.
And now I think Garrett Wilson is the all-time TD leader in the history of the university. So
Yes.
that's happened quickly because
Yes.
that's where all the stats are at recently.
And but I think like some like BS, not that great professional quarterbacks continue to come out of there, and on the backs of those wide receivers, and you end up with these guys that are like the Barretts, and who was the guy who played in Buffalo, the gigantic dude that everyone loved, but he was not.
With a C. Cornelius.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
God, go C.
Come on, give it to us,
Big
board.
old beefy
He was
Cornelius.
a big beefy quarterback,
With
and
a C.
everyone loved him.
And he was like, I didn't come here to go to school. I came here to play
Yes,
football.
yes,
Remember that?
yes.
They acted like I came here to study. I came here to play
quarterback?
football.
Yes.
It's not Cornelius. He was
It
huge.
was like Enos or something like that. What was it?
And he's I think
Darn
he's-
it. But anyways,
Talk about
it's guys
Cordell
like
Jones.
that.
Cordell Jones.
Cordell Jones,
I was trying to give
JT
him. I
Barrett.
was trying to give him Yukon Cornelius status. I apologize. That's the best beard
Cordell
stash.
Jones.
Yukon Cornelius has the best beard stash in the game. You know who
I agree
Yukon
with that.
Cornelius
I agree
is?
with that.
Yes,
I agree with that.
all right.
So I feel like these
Rudolph
guys
the red-nosed reindeer too.
get way too
That's-
much
you gotta
credit.
Get one of
I
those
knew
going.
this.
Get one of those going. That's what I want next.
All right, so we're not going to let the show end without addressing what I think is great news, only because it continues to support a narrative I'm pushing with my heart, but also think that it's true, that this team is, in fact, going to be sold. I continue to believe that. I continue to say that. I continue to put that out there. All the things that Dan Snyder has done that are deserving of losing your NFL franchise, none of them have actually cost him his team. But if they catch him with his hand in the till, that doesn't fly. There's 32 guys, and they're all billionaires, and they all back each other up for stupid shit. But don't rip them off.
Don't mess with the money.
Don't mess with the money. And that would be like, that's the biggest slap in the face, really, ultimately, when you have women going in front of Congress saying he sexually assaulted me, and they're like, yeah, but now his wife's in charge, and he hired.
But did he steal any money?
They're like, oh.
Huh?
By the way, not only that, Kevin, they're like, it's like 40%, goes to like the pod, and they like take 15% out for taxes and this and that. Like, our 40% of what we've earned in ticket sales is like nothing. Nothing. So like the fact that he would even get caught stealing the crumbs.
The person doing the books probably thought it was like below a minimum amount, like threshold, and they didn't have to report it, and so they kept it.
Well, that's what my only hope is. Every we watch all the gangster movies. All the crooks get always caught for tax evasion. I'm thinking if there's got to be some type of tax evasion at some level.
Yes.
Throughout some of these, come on, let's go.
When you're a bad person and people keep digging, they're gonna find something.
Well, and now that all
Somebody's
these
gonna
people,
find something.
Jason
little tiny
Friedman,
bones.
Jason
And a
Friedman
little-
is the former ticket guy. Now, I don't know him personally, but I worked with Jason Friedman. I know Jason Friedman from the team. He worked there for 20 years. He ascended to like the head of their ticket office. If you tried to buy club seats or seats when you were on the list, and they called you to say your name and magically come up because no one really wanted the tickets anyways, chances are you may have talked to Jason Friedman, and he may have been the one who lied to you. During that whole period of time, if you recall, when people were walking away from their tickets and the team was suing, little old ladies and families who had been CCC tickets forever, and they were like,
Oh,
screw it,
God.
I'm out. And they walked away from their contracts, and the team started trying to sue them, and it was like a terrible chapter in a pile of bad chapters when they're suing their fans for not paying. Jason Friedman's name came up in those lawsuits every single day in the Washington Post and the Washington Times and ESPN and all of it. It was Jason Friedman lied to me. And by the way, Jason Friedman lied to me. Jason Friedman told me to my face, you buy this, this is a true story. You buy this package in 3 years, you can move down to the general admission seats. You can save a bunch of money. You'll change your space in line, blah, blah, blah. I was 23 years old. I was playing Beirut 7 nights a week, and I wasn't married, and I had a couple extra dollars in my pocket, and I was like, this sounds like a deal that I can't pass up. So I signed a 10-year deal. It was literally. I know it was. I know it was bad. I know it was bad. I've made mistakes in my life.
What else is promised?
Listen, is this? Are we in the nest? I thought we were in the trust tree.
Good Lord.
Is Jason Friedman a beautiful 25-year-old woman?
I'm gonna need just tell the rest of the story. I'm gonna need to re-up here. But all I can say is Jason Friedman. He lied to me. He lied to a lot of people. But now he is the guy who could ultimately be the reason why Dan Snyder has to sell the team, because he is the one who's got the name with the lawyer who's presented quote unquote evidence that he's put through. And his lawyer came out yesterday and said, hey, listen, Jason Friedman has put the evidence in front of the judge that says the team did in fact withhold the money that everyone is assuming that they withheld. The team has said, of course, we didn't withhold any money. Jason Friedman's lawyer said, actually they did, and we provided the evidence for it. So, long story short, Jason Friedman, who at one point in time was a symbol of the darkness of this organization, very publicly, and a touch point of negativity with this franchise for a lot of people out there, including this guy. Now he could be our savior.
There are redemption songs for some people.
It's a redemption song for Jason Friedman.
Yeah.
Well, if Friedman shows that judge the same package he showed you, they might just get clean off. I mean, Snyder might get off.
It worked.
Apparently, it's a tantalizing package.
You know what? It really is, Kevin. I think we got a real chance here.
It's like,
He's so convincing.
10 years?
He's so
That's
convincing.
Oh, it's like a baby's arm holding an apple.
So, HGH, I don't think it's a weak accusation at all. The accusation is the strongest accusation you can make. It's whether they can prove it or not.
When you tried to cash in on the deal, what happened?
Oh, I called in and I was like, hey.
Did you call Jason Friedman?
Yes, I did. I called Jason Friedman.
Jeez, of course he did. There's certain picks that have been sent back and forth, right?
Initially, it was, I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you calling me? and I was like, oh God,
She's right here.
I'm on the hook for another 7 years of this deal, and I thought I was getting out after 3 to do this. And I was like, called him back. I was like, dude, we talked about this. You told me this, blah 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 blah. And he was like, sir, you signed a contract. And I was like, you're absolutely right. I did. I hung up the phone and I was like, I'm stuck. I signed a contract, so I had to live by it. Thankfully, he got shamed and the whole team got shamed because they did the same thing to a billion other people. And thankfully, I took a lemon and made lemonade, right? So I had tickets. I spent 12 hours every Sunday at FedEx Field. The first year, I would end up there. I would be looking outside the windows from the club section after Love Seed Mama Jump played, and I'd be on the club level looking out to an empty parking lot, almost passed out. I gotta get home. It's how do I? And I would, that was the days when you called a cab.
Yeah,
there wasn't no Uber. Called a cab.
Many cabs from that facility.
I could watch them drive from a mile away, from the windows up there. 12 hours. We got there I got there 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I stayed all day. Take that, Jason Friedman.
Yeah. It was a brutal relationship.
And so you fulfilled the whole 10-year contract.
I did. I signed it. I mean, I had zero.
And then once you let that lapse, you still didn't miss a game for
10 years.
Another 10 years.
So I really did make the most of it. So I did pay the 10 years on the contract, and then for another 10 years, I paid the parking lot price.
I think that officially makes you Daniel Snyder's cousin. I don't mean that in a your decision way. He really thought that people like you were embracing his. What he never fully understood is that you were embracing your youth and your family and everything else that we're here for. He always thought it was him that was keeping the torch alive. He really has. Everyone talks about it. How does that guy know? He's so insulated from all this. He doesn't know how hated he is. We've gone over that forever.
I can't imagine.
Guys that level that are that clueless.
You can't be hated that bad and think that everybody loves you.
I know you need someone. all he has is yes man. Someone has to be like, dude, you're the devil of this organization, and everyone despises you. Do something to save face. Do something. It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Mary Jo. It's going to have to be Mr.
Mary
Friedman.
Jo.
It's going to have to be that package. Just some
Come
type
on,
of
Jason.
package.
Show him the package, man.
Any type of package.
So convincing.
God, if it gets this tantalizingly close. And you know what my worst nightmare is, and it's everyone listening, that they go through this whole process and they come back with sanctions and like fines and salary caps, salary cap implications based on our naughty and we're stuck. Please, NFL, listen to us. We have been kidnapped. This man has stolen our heart and soul. He's taken everything from us. We're not allowed to give it down to the next generation because of him. We can't share in this family deal that we've shared in our whole lives. We can't take the pride of a Monday victory. Rarely. Come on, please let this guy go. Jesus Christ.
I think the timing is
Kind of sounded like a preacher there.
I honestly don't know what I sound like. It was coming from, I almost got like a lump in my throat. I almost freaked out.
and he's done all these knee-jerk things, and whether the people that he's hired are, I mean, Jason Wright, if there's a new owner tomorrow, Jason Wright's the first guy that gets fired. To me, he was part of he signed off on the Sean Taylor thing, and that's enough for me. All the other shit he was part of, I could have figured out a way that he could have been like, I'm just going along with it because I'm not the boss. But he signed off on the Sean Taylor thing, and last straw for me. A lot of people in the front office can be fired right away. I mean, he did like he tried Julie Donaldson and the Bram Weinstein, broadcast. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. But he did it because he did that because he was trying to change the conversation. All the things that he's trying to point to that he did to try to save face, they weren't done with any kind of goodness in his heart or any kind of like legitimate belief that what he was doing was helpful. He was doing it to try to distract and change the conversation, just like he did when he said he was going to change the name of the team, just like he did when he said he was going to retire Sean Taylor's number, and just like he'll try to do again if you give him the opportunity to do it again. I mean, he's a bad guy. And yes, if they kick out Dan, Tanya's out also. This is a full-scale sale, Willie Lambos. That is the most ridiculous. Like, can you guys just imagine for a second? I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing ever. You say you sir are out.
Well, can Aaron come back and do it next week?
But your wife's going to be in charge.
Can Aaron sit right here next week and do this?
Your wife's going to be in charge.
Can't wait till Leslie and Megan's turn. Like, it's going to be awesome.
Like, how did we go along with this? How is anyone with a straight face being like, this is a real thing? Like, you just made his wife in charge? Like really? Like, that's unbelievable.
Versa. I'm not showing up at my wife's job capable of doing anything tomorrow at all. Like, you can't just be like, you can't just do it. You can't just have a spouse do your job. Like, what planet does that ever? I don't understand. I've never gotten that part.
It's so weird.
Is Tanya around? It's got to be somebody.
It's unreal.
What the shit, man?
It's unreal, and like literally, like people are going along with it. The world is continuing to spin. Now, again, there's a billion more important things on the planet going on right now, I understand, than the NFL's handling of the Washington Commanders front office. But if you just think about it just for a second and block everything else out, it's such nonsense that they would think that the whole purpose is this guy is not allowed to make any decisions. So that woman standing right next to him, like right there, like, okay, she can make all the decisions. Like, it's on the face of it laughable, not because of Tanya, not because of not anything has to do with her, just because it literally makes my head explode.
When T's like, boss, I'm not going to be there tomorrow morning, but don't worry, I'm sending my wife. She'll be at my desk from 9 until 11. Yeah. Oh, no problem, T.
Makes perfect
can't
sense.
wait to see Leslie. No, what world is that possible? And by the way, there's 32 of these guys on the planet. I mean, it's the most exclusive boys club ever, and they like.
Well, that's the most exclusive move.
Yeah,
right there, amongst the 32 of them, or the 30 other ones that said, "Yeah, this will fly."
Now
we're all right with this.
Let's push this one step further in a weird way, because I know that's what you like to do, T. Let's say Tanya Snyder decides, I have had enough. This guy is a terrible human being.
To fire and divorce.
I'm
Dan.
divorcing Dan Snyder, but I'm keeping the team. What happens then?
It can't be worse.
It can't be worse.
It's not a great solution, bro. It's dirty.
It's not a great solution, but I had that thought today. I'm like, wait
That's
a second.
better.
It'd be a fake divorce. By the way, they would stage a fake divorce. He is small enough of a man to do that.
Stage a fake
Yes,
divorce. It's
to
genius.
to maintain the
genius.
stranglehold.
Oh my God!
Yes.
You just gave him a horrible idea that may work.
It might work. Stage a fake divorce. He's like, you know what? I'm going to be sleeping in the yacht on the Potomac, because he just bought that huge property in Alexandria.
Oh God, you should see that little hammock they got out there. Go ahead.
He's like, you know what?
It's adorable.
You
Is it
keep
a
the
little one
team.
or a big one?
I'll be in the yacht.
It's a little.
I'm telling you right now, if they're announced they're
size.
getting divorced, it's going to be. I'm going to lose it because That's happening, guys. Just so you know. Remember how every once in a while I get a premonition and it actually turns out true? This one's happening. They're getting divorced, and this is going to totally f up this whole situation for us.
Oh God, if he comes out and says he's a transvestite, he's kidding me. It's gonna be. He's the ultimate distractor.
Ultimate.
He doesn't give a shit.
No.
He doesn't care about honesty or the
insane to
truth. He'll
everything.
expose anybody else to keep on surviving. He's a cockroach, man.
He's a cockroach.
And that's what I'm worried about in this whole thing. He's not going to get stomped out. I mean, it doesn't matter what's been flung at him.
He keeps surviving.
He does. God damn it.
He keeps surviving, and and like I said, you keep digging, you're gonna find something. But
There's going to be plenty more, and he's going to
hopefully
keep
this is
sticking
it.
and moving. And just, God, this annoying little bastard keeps shaking shit off, doesn't he?
It is uncanny. The deadest period of the NFL calendar, I think is really in May. After the draft, there's one OTA session, I think, for the most part for all teams, somewhere in mid-May. But then it's really from beginning of May till the beginning of June when you start to sniff training camp being close. There's nothing going on in the NFL. And the NFL is praying to God that he's not taking that's when you're trying to sign first round picks. You're trying to clean up the post June 1st cuts and make your team better.
Designations, yeah.
I'm telling you right now, that period is ripe for commander NFL domination. The news, all this stuff that's being investigated now, so they're not telling us it definitely did happen. They're just saying we're investigating it. Friedman and his lawyer are alleging it. They're providing evidence that it's happening. The NFL is investigating it. Mary Jo White's on the case. We don't have any conclusions, but I'm trying to think of who besides us, who like that is the period of time, because that also allows the NFL to handle this the way they want it. You said it. It's a 32-person boys club. You don't just get in. You don't just put. You don't just say, "Here's $5 billion on your team." Like they have to ask you to pay $5 billion, and then you get the honor of giving them $5 billion to be part of their club.
You got to sign a lifetime deal with Friedman.
You got to sign a lifetime deal with Friedman.
It's gross.
But he's very convincing. So, can that happen? So I had this conversation today with a fellow fan, and the idea that you can move a $5 billion organization and execute a $5 billion transaction, give or take $1 billion or $2 billion, in 30 to 60 days. I don't know. That to me sounds pretty ambitious. But let's say they're able to get this done before the season starts. That's kind of where I was going when I talk about guys like Jason Wright and Julie Donaldson's crew and all that stuff being kind of like, okay, those are easy decisions to make. But you have to, if you're the NFL, aren't you telling the new owner, whoever it may be, being like, listen, don't touch the football side of the house. You let Ron Rivera do what Ron Rivera is going to do. You let him, you basically, it's hands off for one whole season, one whole year. You can't touch football. You can do anything else you want.
He'd be the interim decision maker appointed by the NFL during a period of transition.
Rivera.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Why not? I think the NFL would stand with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's our only hope. The guy we hired to coach the team should now make all adult decisions.
All adult decisions. And some guy just paid $5 billion to own it, and he's inheriting the NFL being like, by the way, we don't care what you do. Change the curtains, change the carpet, knocked out some walls. We don't give an F. It all needs to go anyways. But inside the white lines and anyone with the whistle, hands off. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it for one season. Don't make this thing. Don't make it worse by being a billionaire.
We're just always just hovering above the mud pond of disgusting murkiness.
Yes.
We got a little straw that we're breathing through.
Kids
Always.
get in free. I do like that, Robert Cohen. What a dick. $10 each for. Wait, first of all, are you going to watch a game? Are you going to USFL games? He said the USFL tickets are $10 each and kids get in free. Is it Applebee's? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, that's crazy.
Where are they playing?
I don't know. Applebee's, apparently. Kids eat free. Sorry, AGH. We don't mean to bring you down. I know it's late over in the United Kingdom. But
this bores me.
This is a good okay, Birmingham. So are you... So
all the games are in Birmingham, so he gets to see all 8 franchises in one city for the next 2 years.
That's a lot of kids eating free for all those teams. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of wiener.
By the way, Birmingham is an awesome place. I had a chance to spend some time there. It is fun.
My dad played pro football there for a year and thought it was the coolest place in the world. And I love it out there. Just by the way, grilling hot dogs out there for the kids, not just not the microwaving ones. You know, they're
not hot water hot dogs.
No, well, I love those. I'm sorry, I do love those. The soft, the buns. When they put the buns, wrap them in tinfoil and keep them in the steamer. Damn it. Ken likes to toast this. I like mine like almost when they're like, yeah.
I will say the coolest thing about Birmingham, because I went down to visit someone in the hospital there. I found it amazing that you have the hospital, and it's a gigantic complex. It's almost like a hospital town. That place is so gigantic and so next level, and they have so many specialists. The nurses, by the way, are right out of the pages of Playboy. It is unbelievable. It's the best.
Mr. Snyder, how could you?
Snyder.
Daniel.
Listen, but the best part about it
As
is...
general counsel, I would advise that you revisit that statement.
Okay, we'll edit that in post. It is unbelievable. On the first floor of the
That
hospital...
statement was unbelievable.
On the first floor of the hospital is a Waffle House. There's a Waffle House on the first floor of the hospital.
When you exit, they're like, right this way, sir. Just sit down, your name will be called shortly.
I went down there.
Did you opt to keep your pick line in and just hook it up to syrup when you get there?
I'm going down. I almost felt like when I was making my order that I could like afford to be even like a little bit more just crazy, like, you know, extra waffle, extra eggs, double bacon, because I'm like, if anything goes bad, like
Hash
I'm
browns
right
all the way.
here.
What's it called?
Smothered, covered, diced.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
love it.
Yep. All right. So T likes the nurses at Alabama Birmingham. We'll dig into that later.
No, we won't. No, we won't.
I got Nick a single. Robert Cohen didn't even like my Alabama Birmingham love of the hospital Waffle House. And by the way, it was the best Waffle House I've ever been to.
Waffle House.
The happiest Waffle House. If you go to a Waffle House, chances are you're going there after hours. Chances are there's going to be a fight between employees. Chances are someone's going to quit. Manager's probably going to fire somebody. It's going to be a weird scene.
I'm going to get diarrhea. There's a fact.
Diarrhea.
This is a fact.
All of this is happening. But if you go to the Waffle House at the Alabama Birmingham Hospital, the UAB hospital, it is an absolute delight.
My last Waffle House experience
You sure
was
it's still
in Tampa
there?
Bay, Florida with Tony Rickett. Happy birthday, Tony Rickett.
Happy
That was the
birthday,
last
Tony.
time I went to a Waffle House, and it was freaking delicious. It was great.
Yeah.
We were the only 2 people there. Just
So good.
money, but man, half an hour later, you're like, smothered, covered.
May have made a mistake.
Yeah. Hey, man. But yeah, we didn't have a ton of them around here, man. You know, there's one in Frederick.
I think my safe order, and you have to have a safe order because I did end up in the emergency room after a Waffle House. So that did happen. And I wasn't at the Alabama Birmingham Waffle House.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
What the
dead
shit?
serious. I ended up in a
Type of
Waffle
Waffle House.
Did you get food poisoning?
No, so I was driving home from spring break my junior year of college, stopped at a Waffle House.
It was syphilis.
In North
Apparently.
Carolina.
Apparently it was syphilis. Go ahead.
I ate so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ate so much at this Waffle House and then drove 7 hours from whatever it was in North Carolina all the way back to Baltimore at Loyola. And I got there that night and I ended up in the emergency room.
Sweats.
X-rays were taken. They basically were like, it looked like I had poured cement into my intestines. They were like, sir, you're just locked up. It is just like cement has been poured into you. So we had to jog that loose. But I can't stay mad. Can't stay mad. Safe order from Waffle House. 2 waffles, 3 fried eggs. Call it a day.
Okay.
Holy inside story.
What am I going to be mad? When I can stay mad, my wife still is like, why are we going there? You ended up in the hospital. I'm like, it's the Waffle House. You think I'm just going to abandon it?
And you've eaten at Waffle Houses after that.
That's what he's saying. That's what
It's
Megan's-
amazing.
No, it's
I know.
Let me tell you something. Jason Friedman told me the Waffle House will never do you wrong again.
He dangled that package out there. There was no
He
coming
promised me it was over. I had my worst day at the Waffle House. Things like it'll never happen again, and I believed him. And
Well,
you know what?
back. Jason Friedman did this to a lot of people, Ken.
He did. Hey, Joe Marangolo, what's up? Getting here late. Thank you. He does back the Waffle House take. The Waffle because he had the Waffle House at the Birmingham Hospital as well. I'm assuming he did because he was at the same place.
Next week I think we should talk about hospital restaurants outside of the Waffle House, or perhaps in a church, or maybe a pawn shop. Wherever you guys have eaten that's weird.
We've all eaten at some terrible hospital. We've all had terrible hospital.
But I
food.
have that weird cafeteria for that first meal at the hospital. I like.
Yeah.
The rest is just dog crap. It's gross. But that first one, that cafeteria style cheeseburger,
or like there was randomly like a Subway in the corner, and like you catch them in the right hour.
No, but I like that good old fashioned crap that they order and wrap and like that.
The burger, slice of pizza,
just once,
some fries. Yeah.
Yes, that first order on the cafeteria cart, and you get up there, but then it's all downhill from there.
Oh yeah, it is.
Ugh.
Yeah, the second day you're like, I'll
But
just
a
switch
Waffle
it up.
House
maybe
at the
get a soup.
hospital, it's just so confusing.
That's what I'm trying to say, dude. It blew me away when I was like, I'm gonna go get some food, and I was literally stayed on campus.
I mean, they're cooking in bacon fat approximately 15 yards from where they're doing like triple bypass.
Yes.
I mean, that's just too close to home for me.
Sounds like a Simpsons episode.
It really does. It's like a funeral home at outside of a little league.
AGH, you do not avoid that Waffle House. You got to do it. You got to do it. God darn it! I feel like maybe another Tom Marangolo. The single malt Scotch was good too. All the Marangolos have been to Birmingham. We've spent some quality time getting to know the lay of the land around the
I
hospital.
thought he was going to say the nurses. Thank God he didn't say the nurses.
I know both Joe and Tom will back me up on the nurses comment. Your guys are getting here a second or two late. The nurses at University of Alabama Birmingham are next level.
Hey, Ken, where are you going on vacation? To Birmingham Hospital.
I was going down to Birmingham Hospital. They had a great Waffle House.
They got great rates.
Where were you during the pandemic, by the way?
That's where I got my computer stolen, by the way. You guys remember that night?
I bet.
It's,
I bet you did.
Came
buddy.
in here.
I bet you did. You got it stolen, covered, smothered
and nice. Covered with cheese.
And Friedman. It was a terrible evening.
All I can say is they do great work down there. Great work.
Wow.
Well, we're going to come back and do some great work next Tuesday night. Now, we don't have another mock draft, but we are closing in on the draft. So, I have some ideas. I'm running by you guys in pre-production.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Coming up on the draft, it's fun because we get listen. You guys were talking about Carolina and Sam Darnold, and it made me think that some teams like ours and the Panthers, we don't have right now the luxury of attracting the Russell Wilsons and the Matthew Staffords and then the free agent veteran guys who are moving around. They're going to continue to move around, and we'd like to be there someday. But the only way we can make our team better in terms of top talent at positions of top need and top impact, that's through the draft. It's coming up. We got an opportunity to do it, and I'm excited, especially if a guy like Kyle Hamilton falls to us at number 11. That'll be amazing. We'll have something draft-themed next week. we'll tease it there. We'll stop it there. I want to say thank you very much for you guys giving us your time tonight. If we did anything at all that you like, give us a thumbs up. Otherwise, please subscribe, hit the bell, get a notification when we go live in this basement or outside this basement. He is Tim Strachan.
Appreciate it. Can't wait till next week when we do the draft of the top 10 nurses at the Birmingham Hospital.
No, dude, that is unbelievable. I can't believe you said that. First of all, how dare you? This is 2022.
This is a snake draft.
Unbelievable. Okay, snake draft. That you know what? You redeemed yourself there, Kevin Rickett.
I would like to apologize to everyone for my guy. I'd like to apologize.
No, I meant on their
anyone
skills.
that knows that we're friends.
No, I meant on their skills. I meant with
Yep.
whole background.
I'm not looking at T or Ken. I'm looking straight at the camera, and I'm rubbing my knees, and I'm nervous.
It's a nervous time.
I love the board, man. I love that Joe and Tom are getting along on the board. I love it. Hey, by the way, EO, Ross Natoli is not in there. He's a first ballot. You just have to be done coaching a little bit, but yes, he will be in, no problem. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much for everything. And Ken, thank you very much for, honestly saying all the stuff you said tonight. I really enjoyed it.
I got a lot of
maybe not all of it.
I liked it.
Maybe not all of it.
Maybe
Well,
not.
I liked that he said it. Most all of it was great, and the parts that I didn't like, I'm just glad I didn't say it.
We got Tom Marangolo. Congrats, Kevin, on the Hall of Fame award. If I may just say, Tom Marangolo, a Hall of Fame running back from Bishop McNamara High School, was potentially on his way to Catholic University. He got recruited and went to visit and didn't really know what the hell was going on, and ultimately decided he went to the University of Maryland. But I know, and he might, if he has a chance to type fast enough before we finish the show, he often looks back on that because, not to date my dad, 1971 high school graduate, he was at a time when Catholic University was actually playing. I mean, that program was playing in bowl games.
Yeah, no, it got a long tradition, and it's a lot of great people, and it's a real special place.
Yeah, so he looks back on that, coached by Frank Knightsey, and then and has told me a number of times, he's like, man, maybe I should have gone to Catholic, but it worked out for the best.
When you're playing ball in the shadows of the shrine, you got to think that it might help your chance to get to heaven. I mean, you got to think St. Pete is got to be a Cardinals.
Oh, Tom Marangolo.
The Cardinals fan.
Tom Marangolo was on his way. Joe and I are just trying to latch onto those coattails. Sneak through, mostly sneak through.
I love it.
And I'm just trying to disassociate myself with all of T's comments tonight about nurses.
Oh yeah, because I'm the one.
I, quite frankly, am called.
From Catholicism to nurses, great transition. I love the way the night went tonight. I mean, hey, let's mock draft whatever the hell we want to next week.
Draft theme next week.
We're
somehow,
not gonna have
some
much
way,
time to do it.
We're gonna have fun. Maybe slightly less on the football knowledge, and slightly more on the fun.
Thank you all.
Come back in 7 days and hang out with us on the Tuesday night. Thank God it's Tuesday. I'm Ken Marangolo on behalf of First Amendment Sports. Have a great week. Dan Snyder's still on the team. We're still left.
He does? Right now. He does right now.
He's selling the team?
Yeah, he's selling the team. He owns it right now.
He owns it right now.
But
you own their heart.
soon he might not.